Hey everyone, Icing here, and we are back for a post-rep, bat-rep, whatever you want to call it, what to do next. Welcome back, Ross.
Hey, thanks for having me back.
Of course, man. Thanks for beating me.
Hey, it always feels good, man. Playing against you is always hard. So we take wins where we find them.
Yeah. I mean, been on a big old losing streak, but we're gonna fix that new year.
No, you're about to crush me. Yeah.
What brings us here today is we're gonna talk about how the bat-rep went. Thank you all for watching it. Do appreciate that. This will be kind of a recap of what we did wrong, what we liked about it, and then for all the new players who just bought the two-player battle box, what to buy next. Because you're like, holiday season's right around the corner, the new year's about to come up, and you're kind of like, by the time the new year rolls around, you're gonna be like, what do I get next? Because I had a lot of fun with the two-player battle box, but where do I go?
And now's your chance. Friends, family, loved ones, anybody you got.
Yep.
Start getting that Christmas list ready.
Yep. And then, so going into the bat rep, what did you think of the two-player battle box, the scenario?
I don't think you could have asked for something better. One, the scenario is really fun, and it's way different than like a typical War Machine game, right? I really liked the hide the objective. I think the box is perfect for new players. Every single model you have has something cool it does, right? Which is kind of nice instead of giving you thralls or like just generic warrior models. While there's nothing wrong with that, I think the big thing that sets War Machine apart from a lot of games is the fact that a lot of the models have cool and interesting things they do, and I think they hit the nail on the head with the two-player battle box, if we're being super honest.
No, I agree. And it's definitely a box that on both sides has very good models that have very different play styles that will carry.
But they're evenly matched.
Yes, they
right?
play really well
I
with each
mean,
other.
we came down to the hair, having this being the first time either of us had played the box. So
yeah, and
I really liked that.
On paper, the Cygnar definitely reads better. The Khador is like, okay, but when you play it, it's like these armies played very well into each other, and it was very much
they did a good job for sure. I think
balance they had on that.
Yeah, it was perfect. If they continue to do that with the future two-player battle boxes, I think it's going to be a huge success. It's a great way to get into the game and just have fun.
What the next player, what the kind of battle boxes they'll be doing in the future, or if they'll just take
I
this
don't
one
know.
and kind of add a little bit to it.
No, they're going to do different factions for sure. I think they're going to be fairly similar, where you get like a Jack, a solo, your caster, and then like a unit, right? Kind of like the Furies or whatever, or the dogs for this one, right? Or for Khador with the dogs.
So what did
I don't anticipate it.
So what did you like about what did you like about Khador?
Man, honestly, I thought they all played super well together. I really like the tanky, kind of clunky feel of not clunky, that's a bad word, but the just like robust feel of Khador feels good, right? I felt like my models could kind of take a hit, and so I wasn't super worried about pushing them up. I really like the aesthetic for the Khador was another thing that I really like. I kind of like the boxy utilitarian style armor. I like that
vibe.
Yeah, and they just kind of have like a, hey, we're here to get a job done. Like it kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you ever played Star Citizen, but all the different factions make all these different ships, right? And one of my favorite ships is this company called Drake, and they make utilitarian ships that are designed for like outriders, the folks that go out into the unknown and kind of like rough it for themselves. And Khador really fits that vibe for me, where they're like, hey, I'm here to make the most of everything I have, and we're gonna get a job done. And that's just how they felt the entire game.
Yep. Being the Khador player, I totally agree. They are, and it's funny you said clunky. It's like they're like some of the fastest Khador.
Yeah, because they're not slow. Yeah, I mean that army's really quick, right? I know a lot of Khador is a little bit less quick, but I don't know. Like, how did you feel about Cygnar?
I really liked it. They were definitely a lot more going on than I'm used to for just like normal units.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, we both read the rules like 5 minutes before. So before you play your game, spend 10 minutes, maybe not 5 minutes reading your rules.
Yeah, maybe even 15, some might say.
That's a lot of time.
Perhaps then, we'll get to it, but perhaps then you might realize
the mistakes.
Some of the what's it called? The like way to set up your plays, right? How to set up the plays.
But Cygnar's damage output is at first like It's good. And then there's so many different little like things you can do to just dial it up to 11.
Oh yeah, no, I figured that one out. Yep. Uh
Because
huh.
like the one random shot I got on you and Razor, it was just like, oh, there's 3 dice of damage. That's a
Yeah,
lot of
you're like,
damage.
I'm just gonna put a fat hole in your jack. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, no, all of their stuff had ways to just like dial it up really fast, and they were glass cannonies. When they got hit, minus Deuce, he was, as the Jack does, he still takes several hits, but like the units were like, I'm hit, I'm dead, but it was like they were glass cannons. It was a
yeah,
very
but
fun playstyle.
I feel like you see that a lot in most armies. If we're being super honest, right? Like, you look at for my guys, the Furies, with when I play Necrofactorium, they're incorporeal, so it is harder to hit them. But once they're not incorporeal, once they've kind of engaged that first time, like, they're going down. And I think you see that across the forces. I don't know, maybe Orgoth's. Does Orgoth have the little like trio yet?
No, I think, and that will lead into, as we're going to talk like a buying guy and what to do next.
Yeah.
Every army is getting a little command starter, and that's what this kind of falls into. Is like every unit's a names unit.
Right. Yeah, there was no warrior models at all. Every single character, every single
thing was a character.
is a character, right? Which I think is really good for the starter, right? I know I keep saying that, but I do honestly believe that, because it starts to get you into that, what do my units actually do? How do they work together? Which is going to set you up for when you start playing 50, 100-point games.
Yep, and even better about what these armies are is they are cadres. So if you were to play Storm Legion, or in Khador's case, the Winter Corps, they meshed with that. Or if you were to wait until Old Umbre and Gravediggers, you could play them with that too. It's like it's dual hatted.
I think that's really smart for the two-player battle box too, because it kind of opens you up to having the ability to purchase two different armies, right? So yes, you're playing Khador, but what flavor of Khador do you want to play? And because it's cadre, you're not really locked in to
Yep,
one. You can kind of
like,
pick.
it is a box of models that do their thing, and then they will fit to wherever you want to go. Like if you want to wait for Old Umbre and being what Old Umbre will be, you can wait, or you can pick up a couple Khador models, and you could
Yeah,
play
if you
that.
want to play Winter Core and you really like the Jack feel, and you really like the a little dual Mastodon action, you can jump
That's a
into
little
that.
wild there.
Well, somebody's got to.
So this is actually a good segue into what to buy next.
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
As a new player, you bought the 2-player battle box. You split it with your buddy, $50 each. What do you buy next? The 2-player battle box being a cadre, it's basically a command starter. It lets you. So say
Well, it's technically the command cadre, right? So like,
yeah,
one, you're saving about $50 because the MSRP, I think, for command cadre, and hopefully you'll have that dope picture you got put up, right? But oh, perfect. You'll see on there, right? MSRP is $100. So you're saving $50 a piece with that, give or take. But then, yeah, how do you move on? You got 30 points.
and this is where you can make the choice of, do you want to play Winter Core? Do you want to play Old Umbre? And this is for the Khador player. If you're listening, this is for you and you want to play Khador. You could play it safe and buy the other cadre for $100, and then just have both cadres be sitting around 50 to 75 points. Probably, it'd be 60 points total. So
You'd technically
points.
be at 60 points, yeah.
So you have a 50-point army. You can play more of the game, and then both of the things you bought work with either half of the army. And it's not like the models in the cadre are good. You get Sakura, you get the Annihilator crew, you get the Solo. All of those are used in a lot of Winter Core army if you go that way. But then you also still have models that are useful if you just wait till Old Umbre.
No, I think that's good, right? I think they've done a pretty good job of making sure that there's no real throwaway models where you're like buying a box but you don't really care about stuff. Like, yeah, sure, your meta lists aren't going to have everything, right? That's just not how it works.
Yeah.
But I think they've done a pretty good job with the boxes, that you're not going to feel like you've been pigeonholed into playing suboptimally.
And if you decide Winter Core is your thing, instead of getting the command cadre for the Winter Core, which would be the Annihilators, you could get the battle group box, which includes Boreas, and the Great Bear and the Direwolf. So around
right, and then as you start to
and that gives you 2 jacks, which Khador loves their jacks. They're big beefy boys. And it gets
their jacks are great, yeah.
Which is a dope second caster who has a sniper rifle who will hit you from across the board.
No, I think it's really perfect, right? It kind of gives you like the Lego building of like, hey, where do I go next? Do you go jump into the battle box? Are you going to pick up a core expansion, right? Like, yeah, you can pick up individual jacks if like that's what you really want or need. But I think if you're getting started, I would personally stick to like, hey, if you have the cadre or you have the command starter, pick up a battle group, pick up a core expansion, something like that, right? Even the auxiliary expansions, right? You typically include the cav, which it gives you another play style within your armies.
Yeah, definitely. If you're gonna jump to a core expansion or an auxiliary expansion, make sure that's the army you want to stick with. I'll say that is a big caveat. The
Well, at
benefit of
least the
it,
army you want to stick with for now.
yeah, exactly. You could totally buy another one later, but if you're buying for Winter Core, make sure you are ready to buy into Winter Core with the core expansion.
Yeah, because you don't want to kind of take the cadre as a way to feel out the playstyle of the faction as a whole. And then, I mean, there's plenty of YouTube. You can watch battle reports. You can see kind of like how the different armies play, and hey, where does that fit with how I like to play, and kind of move from there. And if you decide, Winter Core is your thing, or Old Umber is obviously not out yet, but if you're just like, dude, I love Winter Core, I want to rock Winter Core, let's do it. Yeah. Then I would probably, instead of getting the other cadre box, like I would just probably do either like a battle group or a core expansion.
Yeah. TLDR for Khador. If you like the Khador aesthetic, Old Umbre is going to be different. It's going to be a little more. They already said Bear Cav, and it's going to be a more Horde-y kind of based. So if you like the jacks and stuff, get a battle group box that gets you to 50 points. A second cast turn, 2 more jacks. You can play around there and then learn 50 points. And then as you grow, yes, you can jump into the core expansion.
I definitely would not jump straight to 100 points for sure.
Oh yeah,
one, that's expensive. One, it's expensive, but two, it's a lot to pay. It's a lot to learn, and if you kind of inch your way out, you'll learn. In my opinion, you'll learn more of what your individual models do, and as you kind of expand your roster, I think you'll have a better grip of how your army plays, and more importantly, how they play together.
Yep.
But I think you see the same thing with Cygnar, right? Because Cygnar, I mean, I guess in the tournaments I've seen, the one tournament I've been to, Cygnar didn't play super jack heavy, but you did see a mix of, hey, I'm going to bring a lot more warriors and solos, and then there were a couple lists that were bringing 4 light to medium jacks, right? I hesitate to call them light jacks. They still hit like a truck and were hard to put down.
Yeah.
But
so that's a good way going into Cygnar. I reached out to some Cygnar players, and they had asked them. I was like, hey, what should a new Cygnar player do? Because I don't play Cygnar, and neither do you. It's just we got the box. The recommendation overall, it says if you like the Storm Legion aesthetic, like the current models that are out, you get the battle group box, because like we said, you get the light, the heavy, and you get another caster. But and they benefit from Kane's feet, so you kind of add your 2 jacks to your battle group, and then you have a dope army. The big thing is Gravediggers is coming out before Old Umbre, and I think I totally can be corrected in the comments. Gravediggers is around a March timeframe, so it's not that long.
No, that's not long at all.
Yeah, and it could be sooner. I could be told. I don't have that right. I will put up the actual release date for Gravediggers now. Thanks, post-Craddock. Me editing.
Yeah, yippee.
But you could totally just hang out, wait, paint your models, maybe just pick out something from
exactly. And Gravediggers is going to play completely, way different than Storm Legion, right? I mean, I guess Storm Legion still has a lot of like jumpy forward guys, right? Especially when you start looking at the jetpacks, you start looking at, it's still a pretty aggressive army in my opinion, but Gravediggers deep striking is going to be kind of crazy.
Gravediggers are going to be wild, new mechanics, and if you are cool with waiting, doesn't hurt to wait. And like I said, you could pick up battle group box, and then you're quote unquote out less of usable models.
Yeah, I mean, like if you're genuinely like, hey, I really, really, really want to play Gravediggers, and that's going to be my thing. I want to play this new stuff with new mechanics that the game really hasn't seen before. My advice, I guess, would just be to wait till March. If you're going to buy the battle group box, like just place more 30 points. If you got buddies who have models, maybe borrow some of theirs. True. If you're trying to play bigger, but if you're hell bent on Gravediggers and you've already kind of decided that that's your aesthetic, that's going to be your game, I would just wait till March, and then just pick up the Gravediggers as they come out.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll have some more official rules before then, so you'll get to know more ideas then.
Oh,
But
for sure, yeah.
if Storm Legion's your thing, because you just saw that new Maelstrom rules drop, and you're like, I want that in my army, battle group box, get your light and your heavy, throw them in a cane, and then lead into whatever else, because as it's also coming in January is the SR25 rules update. So Storm
Oh
Legion's in
yeah,
a
which
weird spot
nobody's
right
seen
now,
yet. Yeah.
and we're hoping that it is better. So I can't say buy into Storm Legion as they are now, and I also can't say buy into Storm Legion as they may be. But if you
Well, I
really
mean,
like them,
technically, we can't see anything. The game is probably going to have a lot of balance changes drop,
yeah,
right? So, like, I think it's going to be a pretty good toss up. If you like the models and you think they're cool, then play them, right? Like, that's the whole reason we play this hobby is to have cool models on a cool table, duke it out and battle each other. Like, I don't think there's such thing as a bad army, if we're being honest.
no Mark IV army is bad. So I think,
Correct.
yeah, I think every choice you make with the Mark IV army is a good choice.
Yeah, they've done a pretty good job balancing the Mark IV armies, like really good in my opinion. I don't think that we see anything where it's like, oh, this is the Eldar year. Next year maybe it'll be Space Marines, you know? Like
We don't have that.
right. So at least you're not playing like, I guess I'll take a year off. My army's bad this year. I think they're all pretty good, right? And we saw that at Nova, where there wasn't
It
a
was a good
like.
wide
Yes, there are
spread.
strong armies, but just because you're playing Orgoth doesn't mean you're going to the finals, right?
True.
Just because you're playing. Oh, who else was really good?
Dusk.
What's that? Dusk? Yeah, just because you're playing Dusk doesn't mean you're going to the finals, right? Like the armies are pretty balanced. It really does come down to the player and how well you know your army and what they do.
Yep.
So I think that's good. But speaking of knowing your army,
yeah, I will end that on one quick recap. The buying guide will be full picture right here if it wasn't already. This is a pretty good graphic. I found it in somebody posted it in the one of the discords. Whoever made, there's no credit to who made this, but whoever made this, thank you.
You're awesome. Yeah, whoever made this, you did a great job
for new players.
Shoot, it's great for me. I like it.
And end of the day, rule of cool. If you want the colossal, get the colossal. Whatever.
Colossals are cool.
They are very cool.
That's why they both start with C.
But yeah, into knowing our rules.
Yeah, speaking of knowing our armies.
So first thing that this was that we only had two things, and they're kind of both on my end. One, teleport ends your activation, so I couldn't have teleported and then try to kill Velcool. She didn't die anyway, so it doesn't matter. But using teleport ends your activation.
Oh, okay. So it's an escape, not a insert.
Not a jump in, it's an escape.
Okay. Oh, and then I messed up that movement that you caught.
Yeah, as Rainer 1276, thank you, pointed out, it is a fantasy repo.
I wish they just called it repo and just made it like repo. What is it, repo 6 or repo 5?
Well, that's the thing. It's one full movement. You get your full movement.
Oh, well, in my opinion, to make that make more sense to other players, it could. Well, that too. But if it had said repo, we would have instantly known. You know.
But I'm sure it says teleport at the end of your active using.
Oh, I'm sure it does. Yeah. I'm sure it does. I look, and I did the same thing with Nicaine when I first played Nicaine. When I was playing the 30-point Crix armies, right, and I didn't read her feat right, and so then I thought I could just spend basically all my health on the Hellbolts or whatever it's called, right? And we were at Nova playing for funsies game, right? And I was playing it, and they're like, "Yo, I don't think you can do that." And I was like, "I don't know. Let me read. Like, maybe I'm totally reading this wrong." And I was like, "Nah, you right. You 100% right. I am totally reading this wrong." And speaking of doing things wrong, I definitely. So when we charged the Jack, when I finally moved up, and I was like, "All right, it's time to fight your Jack," I should have just straight up shot you with the Jack first. Because if I had gotten that knockdown,
yep,
you would have been dead that turn for sure, right? That was a huge misplay on my end. I think that was probably the biggest one. Like, granted, did it still work out? Yeah, but it could have been a lot better.
The other
A lot
thing
better
that
had I just
should
read that.
have on mostly because I played Khador, I should have remembered that you guys have shield wall. I knocked down one of your guys that was base to base. He can't be knocked down because he has shield wall.
Oh, because of the shield wall.
Yep.
Yeah, like you live and you learn, right?
yeah.
Like I still had a fantastic time playing, but it just
Yeah.
I think that's a really fun part about the game, especially if you want to get better at the tactical piece of it, is having conversations like this. I mean, Taylor and I do this pretty much every game we play. You know, we'll be on War Table playing, and then after the game, we're like, hey, winner.
Chatting.
Yeah, just one, you know, I'd love Taylor to death. He's one of my best friends, so it's just fun to talk to him. But thanks. But we'll no joke, we'll just sit there and be like, hey, I think, you know, win or lose, we're like, hey, I think, like, and typically, you know, I lose. I'm getting there. We're getting there slowly but surely. But we'll sit and talk, and I'll say something along the lines of, hey, I think, you know, I really messed up this. I should have repositioned dudes back and kind of think about the game and walk back through it.
Yeah, you play head machine.
Right, exactly. And you kind of just try to be one thing better per game. You're eventually a master.
That's true.
You know, that's all it is. If you can do one thing better than you did the game before, yeah, it takes time, but like eventually you're going to be really good if you just start thinking through your games.
Though, it's how you move your models. You try to fucking cheat there, and I was like, yo.
Oh, true. Yeah, bad at moving.
You a new one.
True. Yeah, normally I'm a lot better, but I'm also normally not on the what's it called? Normally I'm on sticks, so it's super easy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I messed it up there with the tape measure for sure.
Happens.
So true. Got into the heat of the moment, trying to throw models across the board.
It happens.
You know,
it's your first time. I get it.
Yeah, you know, somebody's got to mess it up.
I mean,
I'll take one for the team.
But yeah, so our next, just to kind of go into our next batrep will be when the Journeyman League fully launches, which I'm assuming is going to be January. Hoping, finger crossed.
Which would be good because it gives me enough time to make sure everything's ready to go.
Yeah, you need 50 points painted, my friend.
We're getting there. I'm putting together the list right now.
Either 50 points of Dusk or 50 points of Khador to continue the Khador train.
Hopefully Khador. The Khador's been really cool.
Yeah, and they look good on the table, and there will probably be more painted than my Dusk is.
Fantastic. Man, you did such a good job. Both those armies look great. For those of you who don't know, Taylor's our resident like king of the painters around our neck of the woods. And everything he does, just I love to death. It just looks so incredible. He makes me want to repaint all my stuff every time I see a new army he's done.
I could bring Orgoth. I'll bring a Garlgas. Boom.
You're rude. You're mean to me. What are you gonna do? Bring 4 units of cats? 3 units of cats?
Yeah, I'll just break FA rules. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. That'll teach me.
Yeah. So that
I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah, that kind of wraps up this video. I don't think do we have anything else? Kind of.
I don't think so. I think this was I mean, it's pretty short. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, but yeah, just kind of wanted to go over as we kind of get into the holiday season, go over the bat rep and give you guys the heads up of what's coming up. So, do we got another podcast coming up in a week or two? Or we wait until January?
No, we are recording. Not next week, the week after.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah. So another podcast right before the holiday season, you know, curl up next to the fire or the TV with the fire playing, get yourself a hot chocolate. We should have another really fun, hopefully like the last one, but should have another cool podcast, talk about some fun hobby stuff.
Yep. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this was informative. If it was, let us know maybe ways to improve it. If it wasn't, tell us to stop making this and we will.
Yeah, please let us know what you want, right? That's the only reason we do this. So, if it's not what you like, let us know.
Yep, and I will have links to all the boxes and things we talked about down below. If you want to go pick those up right now, or if you just want to have a quick place to get them, happy to do that. And you guys have a wonderful, this will be out on Saturday. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend.
Yeah, love you guys. Have a good one. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you in another couple weeks for another fun Frostcast.
See ya.